All right.
Yeah.
Your crash on press day with that
Yeah.
huge ass triple, whatever the hell that thing was. How the hell do you shake that off? And then when I saw that, I was like, dude, that's big. He might have got hurt a little bit. And then you win.
Yeah.
So what goes through your
Yeah.
mind after something like
This
that?
is I asked them the exact same question after the race.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a great answer you gave me, Hunter. So repeat that answer because I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, so it was obviously not ideal. Like, it was one of those things, like, we were looking at it on, right before press when you walk out on the track, and we're like, oh, damn, like, this thing's big, and you're kind of joking about it, and you're like, oh, yeah, like, I'll follow you off it, like, all that stuff. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, it'll be second gear, just pretty much dial it on from the berm and then just hold it on all the way. Watching the 450 guys hit it, and we're like, okay, yeah, damn, that thing's big. And when I went off the up ramp, I was like, because you can see in the video, I kind of like pushed through it a little bit, like not scrub, but kind of like go through it rather than just straight,
just soaked it
up in the air.
Yeah.
To try and get a little more distance. And when I went off the ramp, I was like, yeah, no stress. And then like the closer I got to the landing, I'm like, oh, jeez, we're going to be short here bad. So like, I like straightened it out and then just like, hit the face of it. Probably like the worst spot. Like if I was literally 6 inches further forward, like I would have been right on top where like Robbie Wageman cased and would have been okay. I think I would have ridden it out. But yeah, it sucked. But I mean, that's that. Anyway, it happened. So thankfully I wasn't hurt. Obviously my body's way healthier. And I think 2 years ago they would have been gluing me back together after that. So, but yeah, then obviously all the controversy starts. Oh yeah, like good job Bozo learned how to jump. Like screw you, we want to see the big jump and stuff. And I'm like, well, hey guys, like sorry that I crashed on it, but I actually didn't complain about it. It was your points leaders of the other classes and all the other 450 guys and riders who didn't crash who were actually kicking and screaming about it. I mean, for sure I agree with it. But what I said to Steve in the post-race interview was what the people at home don't understand about that is on a regular Supercross triple that's 60 feet, we get blown like when the wind's up 6 to 8 feet, and the track's not that much wider than that. So on a 110, 115 foot massive triple, the slightest bit of wind can push you 8 to 10 feet, which you're off the track, or 2 turns after a start when there's 20 guys going over it. It's just a recipe for disaster. So it's just kind of a little silly. They're obviously trying to push the limits and stuff, but that wasn't the only one. That other double after the whoop section that had the shipping container sticking out on both sides of the landing.
Yeah. I didn't see that on press day, but I heard about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you why you didn't see that because no one crashed on it. So the big triple got kind of highlighted. But yeah, like that was another one that's like, how the whoop section gets, like there's guys going left and right all the way through it, and then they got to sack up to this big double after it. Like
that you can't jump off the side of.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like if you come up short, it's a pinnacle down ramp, and you've got shipping container corners sticking out on either side. So I think, honestly, Steve, back on the speedway tracks, I honestly think Daytona would be the same if they had the same dirt that Atlanta has, that more hard-packed dirt. I think you'd see even more crazy stuff at Daytona because they have so much more space and speed. They're like, oh, we can build this. We can, put so much more stuff into, which I'm not sure is a great thing because
Okay. All right.
we're not video game players. Like, if we get it wrong, you can't just restart. It's thankfully I was okay, but I mean, who knows? Like, someone's bike snapped in half in the main, and who knows how many times he case those big jumps. If that's why. Like,
well, that's what's so impressive. Like,
That was a clamp failure, yeah. But
as a rider
Right.
and guys that ride, we all ride. Like when you have something that big to jump, for one, to do it is ballsy. Number two, crash on something like that, and then mentally put yourself together again and be like, okay, that's done and over with. We're cool, and go out and then win. That's what makes professional racers professional. That's what we don't see. We just see them. Oh, they're badass racing. Oh, look at Hunter, he's sick. But this is all the shit that goes along with
You
it.
know, we had the great Phil Nicoletti on a month ago, Hunter, and he said, we're not cats. We don't have 9 lives.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
No,
he
for
summed it up
sure.
nicely, maybe. Although, poor
And, like,
Phil.
another thing
Yeah, go ahead.
is when, freestylers, right? Like they have their ramp and their airbag or their down ramp that stays the same every weekend. Our triples are the same, right? More or less. It's such a muscle memory. It's always second gear, pretty much like rah, and that muscle memory is, obviously different on this one. So that alone is more
Correct.
room for error. And when freestyle guys have the little slightest bit of wind, they cancel the session. They're like, no, we're not jumping. It's too windy.
Yep.
Where the wind picks up in a main. Obviously, weather was a huge thing for the weekend. We can't stop a main event. Like, one guy's just going to go, dude, I'm in a great position. This can be the best race. I'm just going to keep sending it. Like, you can't have all the guys go, hey, 10-minute mark, let's start rolling it. The wind's picked up. One of us can land on the asphalt beside it, So,
Shorty kind of summed it up too. These guys are not free range riders. They're closed in, right? They're on the motocross track, they're on the supercross track, and that's where they go.
Right.
They're not, and they have spec. Like Supercross is all built to spec, and then like what he said, I haven't forgot about that. Like when you throw something different in, like almost free riding kind of a jump, that fucks everyone up. Like you're like, hey, we're not used to that, and you're gonna throw this in with us in
Well,
round 14.
I actually got a text from a buddy who has a point here. Like, he said these guys got to get adapted to a Triple Crown, 3 short races in a stadium, right? Then they got to go to a day race at a speedway. Like, that's kind of a, something to get used to for some of the riders. Like, that's different.
No,
form.
absolutely. Like, a lot of people they're, oh man, it's so amazing how you guys jump the triple on like the second lap or whatever, or the finish line on the second lap. You guys grease it like how that, and it's just simple because they're built to spec. Like you were saying, the rhythms are more or less always built pretty similar in ballpark. Some races a ballpark measurement, it feels like, but it's more or less the same amount of gas, throttle, timing, and stuff like that. That's how we can come to a completely different venue with a completely different track build layout and dial it in 10 minutes.
Yeah. 2 in a row for you, Hunter, and it's tough not to think about that Anaheim race.